Python programming language before you can begin the learning part in web development. So the first thing is we need to set up our text editor, because that is where we're going to do most of the work involved in programming with Python. And I'll be going through how to set up a very reasonable Python development environment. The only thing we need is just a text editor. So I'm zooming in my screen and we're going to be installing Visual Studio Code. Okay, so click on the link and based on your operating system, you can choose which of them you need to download and we download that. Now, for those of us that might not have Python installed on our system, we need to ensure we go to the Python website to download Python. So clicking on the first link, we're going to be downloading Python 3 points, the latest version of Python. And we get that to download. Now, in my own case, I already have Visual Studio Code installed. So I'm not going to do anything. I'm going to wait for the Python installation to finish downloading while I spin up my text editor. All right, so I'm going to create a blank project. Of course, I'm still waiting for my Python installation to finish. Pending while that is happening, we need to install some tools that will make it very easy for us to work with Python on our text editor. And to do that, we come to the extensions tab. Let me zoom in my screen. And we find the Python extension. You can see this particular Python extension by Don Jayamani. We are going to install this particular Python extension. So I have already installed it in my own case, but we need to click on the install button for this particular extension. And once it's done, it will ask us to restart our Python IDE. So pending while that is happening, and it looks like our installation is taking a little bit long, but we would wait. While the setups are the things we need are downloading, here are some things we're going to cover. So ideally, the basics of Python are readily available, as in we are just getting started into programming. There are a few sites like codeacademy.com that can get you started, or at least they walk through the approach of getting started as a complete newbie. If you are more interested in using books, there is Learning Python the Hard Way, which is another option. So it will literally teach you all the you're literally going to go through each problem step by step. The problem with this Learning Python the Hard Way book is that the book uses Python 2, but it looks like the author has finally updated the book. So I think everything should be good. But this is an option to learn Python, the process in learning Python, the Python programming language. And I'm also sure they are Learning Python mobile application. So there's actually an app, because I remember meeting with someone and he learned Python by using a particular application on his phone. So there are a variety of options available at our fingertips to learn the Python programming language. And we can see that this is kind of an interactive way to learn the Python programming language. So let's see if we can play this video. Depending when our Python setup is getting started. can see that at least there is an app at your fingertip that you can literally use to learn the Python programming language. So really, as long as you have an internet connection, learning the basics of the Python programming language is really not an issue. But what we are going to do today is just the basic things you need to know about Python, at least for those of us that were looking to actually get started into web development. The basic things you need to know about Python before you can be a little bit productive in an actual web development project in Python. We'll be going through it. So it's not going to be an in-detailed video on. It's not going to be an in-detailed video on everything about the Python programming language. Just some aspects of Python that I feel we would need to know that will be beneficial in our understanding of whatsoever web framework we choose to use. So it looks like my Python installer has finished downloading. So I'm going to install it on my system. So now there are some things we need to look at. So upgrade to Python. So I am going to be upgrading my Python installation. Now, for those of us that might not be, once we click on this link, there is going to be a setup at the bottom that mentions the parts of where it's supposed to install. In this case, because I already have Python installed, I'm just upgrading my Python installation. But in our case, in some other case, you need to ensure that you click an add to path option that shows up at the bottom, so that by default, once Python is installed and you open your command prompt and you type Python, it shows up in this case. In my case, I have two versions of Python, so it might be confusing. But if I were to write Python 3, you can actually still find my Python installation. So I'm upgrading my Python installation to Python 3.6, and hopefully we all are doing the same thing. Okay, so while we wait a little bit for the Python installation to be completed, it shouldn't take long anytime soon. Okay, so pending while that's happening, assuming we've installed this Python extension, we need to come up with a place where we're going to put our project. So I'm going to open a new folder, put all my projects in the training folder. So I'm going to create a new folder and I'm going to call it Learning Python. I'm going to select it. So everything opens up and we got all of this. So let me just collapse all of this so that we have a very large page to work with. So everything, at least from this place, is set. So while this is being set up, ensure that everything is working well. Okay, we're still waiting for the Python setup to install. It shouldn't take long anytime soon. So pending, well, there are some of the things we're going to do. Some of the things we're going to learn about is how to connect our text editor to a Python environment, how to easily spin up a virtual environment in Python. As in how to easily spin up a virtual environment in Python. A virtual environment is a way whereby we're able to isolate our dependencies away from the general Python installed on our system. Well, an example would do justice to the explanation. So we successfully installed Python. So to ensure that our text editor shows up in our terminal, we press the control back tick, or we just come to the view and we select the integrated terminal, and it shows an integrated terminal here. So in this case, I'm using the bash shell, but don't be surprised if your shell shows up like this. That way, it's not really a problem. Okay, so with the installation of Python, if you were to open your command prompt externally and you were to type Python or Python 3, in my own case, it should show you the version of Python that was installed, and Ctrl Z to exit the terminal prompt. It looks like the new Python I installed is not showing up yet, but it's not a problem. All right, but you should be able to type Python from the command prompt and should be able to see it here. Now, for consistency's sake, especially for those using either Mac or Linux, since I'm not using Mac or Linux and your terminal environment your command prompt environment might be a little bit, I'm going to install one more application that will make things a little bit easy for us, and that is known as Git Bash. Fortunately for me, I already have it installed, but for those of us that don't have it installed, we can come to the download section and choose the download. So, and once we've downloaded that and we're to type git bash, a terminal up here. So hopefully people using Mac or Windows should be able to follow. But from now henceforth, I'm going to be using just my text editor to do everything because I literally have access to the terminal from my text editor. All right. So we've installed Python, we've installed the Python extension, we've installed Git Bash. To get our IDE to use Git Bash, we press the Ctrl Shift P command and we select the interpreter, command because the command prompt terminal. Yeah, we select the terminal. Forgotten the command. Yeah. Switch active terminal. Yes. So you can see right now I have CMD, I have bash. Okay, I think these are the current terminals that are open on my system. I'm not sure of the exact command, but we're able to work with anyone. In my case, I've already configured it to use git bash, so that shouldn't be a problem. All right. So let's install our virtual environment. To do that, let us see if we have pip accessible on our command prompt. And pip should be accessible from our command prompt. So typing pip, we should be able to access this because pip is where is the package installer for Python. For those of us that might be running into trouble accessing pip, here are some things we need to do. First, we need to find out that we can locate where Python is installed, and we can do that by typing where Python. And where Python will point to all the places that Python are installed on our system. So we can see in this place, we have, in our case, I have 3 different locations of Python. So I'm going to copy this. Then I'm going to go to my computer and I'm going to paste the link here. I'm going to delete the Python because I'm looking for the root folder. So this is the location of where Python is. If I open the script folder, I can see all the Python packages. So pip is located at this point. So I'm going to copy this directory. Then go to right click on this PC and go to the property settings, the advanced system settings. Now this is only useful for people that couldn't, is when you type it in the terminal. Environmental variable. Then you select the path and then you ensure that it is added as one of these paths. It's always advisable. So if you want to add it, in my case, I already have it located, but so you can just add a new entry and just paste it here. Assuming you're using Windows 10. If you are using Windows 8 or Windows 7, you need to prefix. You won't see this. If you were to double click here, you just see a very short dialogue. So at the end of the file, ensure that you don't delete all the others, but you move to the end of the input field, put a semicolon and paste the output. Then you save it, not cancel, you save, click OK, and by the time you restart, of course, if you try accessing to that same shell, it won't still pick it up. You need to restart the command prompt again. And when you try it, it should be accessible. So pip is how we're able to download third-party Python applications in our system. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to install the tool to help us generate our virtual environment. And the name of that tool is pip env. And to do that, we run pip install pip env. So in my own case, I already have pip env installed, so I'm going to upgrade it by using the tag u, capital letter U command. But if you don't have it already, then you would need to install it from scratch. So with this particular command, right now we're using pip to download our third-party dependencies. Eventually, we're going to be replacing pip with this pip env, because this pip env, it knows when to install dependencies in a virtual environment, or when to install it globally. So it's going to be responsible for helping us to create all our dependencies and to create our virtual environment, to install dependencies, because it's going to be replacing pip and any other tasks that we might be interested in doing. So we'll wait for it to do its thing. And pending that, we're going to create a simple file that we're going to be using to try all our commands, and I'm going to call it main.py. So while we wait for pip to install, pip env to install, bear in mind that we're working with Python 3.6. So if you're using a different Python, you might still be able to follow, but there are issues that you might run into, and hopefully through a little bit of Google search, you'll be able to find your way out. But it's advisable, if you are just getting started in Python, you should use Python 3, at least Python 3.4, even if you cannot get the same version as I'm currently using in this video. All right, so this is taking a while to install. Okay, so now, so it's taking a while to install. So we get it to install, and we are done. So now if I were to type pip env, it should just show up here with the list of commands that we can try it with. So the first thing is we need to install our virtual environment, and to do that is literally to just type pip install and specify the Python version. So if we're to type, in my own case now, because I have Python 2 and Python 3, and I want to ensure my Python environment is in Python 3, and I would need to first of all find the location of my Python installation. If you are using bash, it is the which command. If you are using command prompt, which is cmd, it is the where command. So if I were to type where Python, and see I have two different locations of Python in this case. If I were to type which Python here, it's actually pointing to just one. But I used an alias, which Python 3. I can see it's pointing to the other one. So I'm going to copy this. In your own case, you won't need to do this. You just type in pip env. Well, okay, you might need to do this also. So but to type pip env attack Python, and I have to paste this .exe, it should install Python virtual environment for me. We're using cmd, it's literally the same thing. Where Python, copy the Python executable that you're working with, and you type it pip env. So first of all, see if pip env is available. Yeah, it is. So pip env attack Python, and you paste it and you press the enter key. But I'm not going to do that because I'm not in the particular directory that I'm interested in. And we'll wait for our virtual environment to be set up for us. So I'm going to be talking through how you're able to navigate your way around your text editor. So we have the sidebar that consists of all the files. Okay, so it looks like our virtual environment has been installed, and you can see the location. So we're going to actually copy this location. So there's a general command in Visual Studio Code. By pressing the Ctrl+Shift+P key, it brings out this text editor. So we want to tell it where our Python interpreter is, and you can see we're interested in the Python select workspace interpreter. So if we do this by default now, chances are it might just bring out the general Python installation. That's not bad, but we're going to change it. So first of all, I'm going to select this. And by doing that, it creates this Visual Studio Code settings folder in our text editor. So I'm going to open this setting. and I'm going to completely replace this. So you can see the convention with this. So on Windows, you can see it follows the forward slash, and in this case, it follows the backward slash. So I'm going to replace all of this with the backward slash so that everything appears to be consistent. And I must ensure that the python.exe shows up. But right now, I don't know where the python.exe is in this place. So let me confirm for my shell. So if I were to type pip env shell, env drops me in the virtual environment. So if I were to type, you can see now it has switched from bash to shell to and from bash to cmd. So if I were to type where python, it tells me the full path of the python I'm currently working on, which is in this case is this one because that was the folder I collected. Then script slash python. So slash scripts slash python.exe. And with this, remember to save this file. Okay, so using the clear command clears everything at the top for those of us who are interested in the command line. And with this, let us see if we have suggestion from our text editor can find our virtual environment now. So I'm going to import the general package from Python, import OS. So you can see the autocomplete suggest is now working. So we're in good hands. We're in good hands. All right. So we're going to be going through, we can actually now start writing our program in Python. So you can see this linter that is always disturbing me. For now, I'm going to disable this. And that linter comes in when if you install the Python extension that I mentioned in Visual Studio Code. So the first thing I'm going to be talking about is variables. So a variable in Python is literally by just specifying a value and assigning it to a number, to an integer, to a string. So this is an example of an integer. This is an example of a string. This is an example of a list. This is a variable is literally just an identifier to a particular data structure. There's nothing special about variables. In fact, if you've gone through any of the basic Python tutorials, this should be the most obvious thing you should be familiar with. The next thing I'm going to talk about is function. So specifying a function in Python, you prefix it to a keyword. So assume I have to create a function that prints my name, as in that prints that adds two numbers. For example, now def add function, where add function is the name of the function, and I takes in the parameters. So first parameter is first number, and the second one is second number. Since this function is returning a value, return first number plus second number. So this is a very simple function, and we can literally test the output of this function on the command line. So if you wanted to find out what this function does, add function 23, 25. We can run this program directly on our command line by right clicking on this and selecting run Python file in terminal. Or alternatively, since we're in the same directory, pipenv is in the same directory as this directory here, you can just run python main.py. Of course, it doesn't show any result because it just ran the program. But if we wanted it to display the result of this output, then we have two options. We can either print out the output by using the print statement in Python, and we're to run the file now, python main.py. It prints out the output. Or alternatively, we open the interactive shell by typing Python. Then, because we open the interactive shell in this particular folder directory, we can import the name of our module, which in this case is main. Import main. I can see automatically printed out the result because it's imported all the functions in main. So I could, let's say I wanted to try out different variations of the function. I could type main dot, and any function or variable that is accessible on this file, I will be able to access it here. So if I type main.name, you can see 23, main.age, can see it printed the 23 version as a string. Main dot list of ages. You can see it printed out the list. Main dot add function. You can see it printed out the actual function. So I can literally call this function again. List of ages 32, 33. Okay, I called the wrong function. Main dot add function 32, 33. And it printed the right answer. So you can see the way our terminal was being helpful to us as we type. Let's say I wanted to create another function. I want to use this function again. It brings that dot to complete. It tells me that I'm supposed to pass a first number. If you want something similar on our command prompt, we will need to install another Python package. So we could directly install it inside our virtual environment, but because I want it to be accessible outside, I'm going to exit the shell, then pip env install ipython. So you can see before, when we installed pip env, we use pip, but after installing pip env, we replaced pip with pip env. So instead of using pip install now, we're going to use pip env, and this ipython is only going to be local to our virtual environment. It will be accessible outside this particular project. So with this, let's install ipython. So ipython ensures that our interactive shell works in the same way as our this thing, with all the autocomplete suggestions, with all the auto suggest, and it makes things at least a little bit easier for us to follow. Pending while that is installing, the most important thing you need to know about Python to be comfortable in any form or any aspect of development is how to use classes. Of course, you could go away with a lot of things without learning classes, but classes makes it very possible for us to be able to structure our code. And say, for instance, you choose to learn a web framework like Django, then or any web framework in Python, then you are going to literally run into scenarios where you need to understand how classes work. A good opportunity for us to do a premiere on classes. So, but before we go into classes, I'm going to show you how you can import a module from one file into another file. So you can see right here, we have this add function. I'm going to delete this generic code. And I created another function for some reason called usage.py. So in this place now, I'm writing a new program, def use function in main. And this takes in just a single value, or it doesn't take in any value for whatsoever reason. This is the simplest kind of function you can write in Python, function that does nothing. So IPython has finished installing pip env shell, takes us inside our virtual environment, and we can, instead of running Python now, we can run IPython to trigger the interactive shell. And you can see it looks a little bit similar. So if I start from and I press the tab key, it brings out your sort of what to suggest. If I type main, it will help me to bring out all the different options. So I can use the up arrow and the down arrow to complete it. So from main, import. So instead of just importing the whole module, I want to import specific functions in the whole module. So what are the options I have? You can see the add function is there. You can see the age and all the variables that are accessible in that particular function. So this is a way whereby if we don't know, we know the name of a module, but we're not sure what the variables are in that module, we can use this to try and guess out what we're trying to look for. So we're interested in from main import. And what do we want to import? If we press Ctrl forward, you can see we can import the add function. And we can use the add function. Result is equal to add function 24 and 24. And result times 28 for so everything. And we're returning this result. I'm sorry, return result times 28. So we just created another function that makes use of a different function. So coming down to classes now, we're going to create a very simple application that tries as much. We're going to use an actual example to explain how classes work. So we're going to be creating a very simple GPA calculator using classes. So before we go through this thing, how does a GPA calculator work? The GPA calculator, first of all, it asks for the number of courses that you're taking. It allows you to type in the name of the course as well as the unit. Or alternatively, we could look at it this way. As we're typing in the name of the course, we're typing in the unit, and we're typing in our grade. Of course, the grade is either from A to F. So let's, the GPA calculator, the first thing is, it asks us the number of courses that we're taking. So if we specify 2, then it asks us twice. Type the name of the course, type the number of units, and type the grade that you selected. And to do that twice for us to type it. And once we type it, it then tells us, okay, your current GPA is, and to help us to do the calculation. So let us, to approach the distance, we're going to look at it from an incremental point of view. So I'm going to create a new file called gpa.py. And I'm going to do the simplest thing first. So we're going to write this program the way someone will write it normally, and we're going to gradually end up using classes to make things a little bit much more manageable. So we'll start. Print how many courses do you take? Print something up in the string, but instead of print, I'm going to use another variable because we're expecting an input from the person. So I'm going to use number of courses is equal to input how many courses did you take. And I'm going to print out whatsoever the person typed. So let's try running this program. Exit Python gpa.py. How many courses did you take? I typed 32 and it printed out 32. So we can see we need some space. So we're going to run this again. Python gpa.py 32 and it printed out 32. Okay, so we are on the right track. So we know that whatever the person types, it is there. But everything that the person types comes in as a string. So we need to ensure that it is an integer. So because it's possible for somebody to type something that is not an integer, we're going to try. Let us look at it. We're going to try and let us open our IPython. And let's say we're going to use the int function to check that if an integer as a string was passed in, it converts it to an actual integer. If we were to use a text now, it's going to complain and it's going to throw something known as an exception. In this case, it threw a value expression because the person wanted to convert to an integer, but the person passed in an actual string. So we're going to use something similar in our code. Try. So we're interested in catching this particular error. Number of results is equal to int, and number of courses is equal to a number of courses. I'm going to put the except value error because we know that that is the kind of exception that is going to end up getting caught. And when the person puts in something that is wrong, what do? We print to the screen is, please, we are serious here. Impute an actual number of courses. So right now we're to run this application. Let's exit this. And we're to run this application. Python gpa.py. How many courses? If we type in the correct thing, nothing happens. But if we were to run this application again, and we're to type in the wrong thing, and it throws the error. Right? So now everything is dependent on how we want to build this particular application. But at least to a large extent. If somebody types in the wrong thing, we want to give the person another opportunity to do the right thing. So how do we do that? Well, there are several ways you can do that in Python, but the simplest way is, as long as the we could think about it this way: as long as the person has done the wrong thing, you should keep on trying. You should keep on prompting the person and showing the error message. So um so this is what we're going to do. We're going to put everything, we're going to create a very simple function that um gets the, so now is an opportunity for us to actually start using. So we're going to create a class GPA calculator, and it inherits from object. Object is the base class. So right now our calculator function doesn't do anything. Okay, so we've created our class. We want to ensure that anytime we run our program, if the person does the wrong thing, it asks the person to do this again. So this is a good opportunity for us to use a function def get input, and it takes in whatever was passed. It takes in whatsoever was passed. All right. Yeah, it takes in whatever was passed. Okay. So we're going to run. How are we going to go about this? There are many options that we have on our 2-bit. So we're going to copy this inside our function. Let us not forget the indentation that occurs in Python. We create a variable and we convert whatsoever was passed by the person. And once it raises a value error, this number variable I created, we're going to set it to be none, that the person did not input anything. And then we're going to return the number of courses. So what that means is we will now rewrite this such that we're still asking the person how many input did this take. And instead of just calling the input here, we are going to wrap this, because it's a parameter that you to be passed in. I'm going to wrap it now. Let us make things a little bit simple. Response is equal to get input number of courses. So we know that number of courses is either going to be an actual integer or none. So while we're going to make it as while the response is none, or alternatively, why not response, they mean the same thing, then it should print out the "we are serious" message. Should print out the "we are serious" message, and it should run the function again. Now what is the function? It should run this again. So now we want everything to run, as in we want this to run again. So we're going to put them in this place. I'm going to delete out many parts of our code. So what have we done so far? Let's read it. We are not doing anything with our classes yet. We've got to get to do work with that. We created a get input function which checks if whatever the person passing was an integer, and if not, it raises a value error because it couldn't convert it to an integer, and it sets a variable to none and we return the value. Then we call the input function asking how many courses the person took. The person gives us an answer. We pass the answer inside to our get input function. As long as we still end up getting none here, we print out, hey, we are serious here, this thing. So let us put a print statement here to always see the value of response at any point in time. So let's run our function again, Python gpa.py. How many courses do you take? I put hello. You can see a true none, and please, we are serious here, actually. And if I type 32, the program ends. If I to run this thing again, As long as I keep on typing nonsense, keep on repeating till I actually type in the correct thing. So you can see our program appears at least to be doing the correct thing. Now, right now, we're still using general functions. Let us see how we can move all these implementations to the class. So in a class, I'm going to create a function known as get user input. So def get user input. Because this function, now in a class, there are different kinds of functions. We have instance functions and we have class function. An instance function is a function that is accessible to instances of the class. I'm going to talk about what that means in a second. So this is an example of an instance function. So the first parameter is self, where self represents the actual instance. I'll talk about it. And right now, it doesn't take in any value. So everything that we're running manually here, I'm going to move it down to this class. But because we want to save the value of number of courses, then our class is going to end up having an instance variable. So since self represents the instance of the class, then it means we're going to use self to store the number of courses. So instead of just number of courses, we're going to have self dot number of courses is equal to, I'm going to copy and paste all this implementation here. Okay, so let's format our code. So get input self dot number of courses and while not response. So now until we're literally repeating this, so I'm going to break this stuff out here into a separate function instead of having to duplicate this every point in time. So def, I'm going to write this get input inside this class. Now this get input in this class is different from this get input outside. It takes in a parameter and let me call it get response so that that is much helpful. Get response. And for now, I'm going to copy this and I'm going to paste it here. Now, in this case, I'm just interested in an actual number and I'm returning the result of that number of courses. Of course, I didn't have to put this in a class. I could have put it outside, but I think that is even much better, me putting it outside. So we don't need to pass in any value again, because whatever the person types, it returns the result. So number of courses is equal to our response. Yeah, it doesn't matter what you call it. Is equal to get response. And while this is wrong, and while not, so it's no longer responsive now. Self dot number of courses. We need to repeat this. We just call it again. Self dot number of courses is equal to get response. So we can remove all of these. So everything we just deleted here now, we are going to do it again. But this time around, we're going to make use of classes. So all these utility classes, I'm going to move them to the top of our file. Okay. And I'm going to add comments to tell us what they do. This function converts a string to an integer and throws an error when the string isn't an integer. And this function, what does it do? This function returns, this does not throw an error, it returns none and returns none. This function returns the value of whatever was passed in by a user and tries to convert it to an integer. Okay. So now let's actually use our code now, and so we need to create an instance of this class. So instance is equal to GPA calculator. Because right now our GPA calculator, we're just calling it without passing any argument. So we've literally created an instance of the GPA calculator. So we want to get the user input instance dot get user input. And with this, our program will keep on running till the person types in the correct value. Let's test it out. So to quit this, Ctrl Z, and let's run our application again. Python GPA.py. How many courses do you take? Hello, 23. I can see our application is still working as expected. So it means as long as the person keeps on doing the right thing, we know when the person has actually done the right thing. As in the result is saved inside the self.number courses. All right. So we've implemented how to get an input from user. The next step is to create to get the user to input the courses, to input the courses, to input the grade, the unit, and to input the grade. Okay, so let's see how we can abstract that out in a different console, and it has to happen multiple times. So we know about, at least we should be familiar with a for loop in Python, how to loop through multiple values. We're going to see an example in this case. All right. So we're going to create another function. And in this case, def. For now, I'm creating the functions outside, and once I need to move it into a class, I will do that so that we're able to follow. Def populate courses, populate data, because populate data. So, and we're going to run this function. So now, do I go to be about it? We're going to implement how do we want to populate just one, as in just a row. Then we're going to duplicate that. So courses is equal to input. So we can see here now that we don't even need to duplicate, because ideally this is what we'll have done. Enter the name of the course. We expect this to be a string. Then unit is equal to input, enter the name of the unit of. So because we want to be sure that whatever the course person typed as the course, we want to show it back to the person. So enter, you're going to make use of the dot format option. So whatsoever the person ends up typing as a course is displayed in the text of this unit. Now we know that unit needs to be an integer, right? As in the unit should be an integer. So instead of calling this, we'll need to run it inside this function. So instead of having to duplicate, we need to run it inside this get input function. So what do we do? Let us come up with a way whereby what do we do? We're going to call this function to the result. So unit is equal to what? Get input unit. You can see I'm reassigning it, but this time I'm passing it to input. And if while not unit should call itself, it should happen again. But you can see now that I'm kind of redoing the same thing I was in here. So let's see how we can rewrite this such that we don't end up duplicating our effort. So we know this while, at least this is the second time we're using this while loop, and we're using this while loop. Let us see how we can move that to a separate function. So I'm going to first of all comment this out. going to come back to this, but instead of having to repeat this while loop every time, let us say we can move it to a function. Def repeat when wrong. We're not sure what's supposed to take yet, but we know that when we pass in, we're going to pass in a value. We're going to pass in a we're going to pass in, okay, how do we, so look at the behavior. The behavior is whatsoever was passing should keep on running. So we're going to pass in an initial value and an expression. Okay, let's see how we can go about it. So I'm literally going to copy this for now, but I'm going to remove some of the things that I don't need. And we know that this function needs to be reusable for different kinds of responses. So we need it to repeat. We want to return the actual result. So we're going to pass in an expression. Yeah, we're going to pass in a function that we want to call. So a function can literally take another function as an expression. So let's say, for instance, now I'm passing in a function. I'm going to call it func. And I'm going to call this result. So result is equal to the evaluation of this function. Because we know it's a function, we're actually calling it. Now, if result is not none, we want to print an error message. So we're going to pass in the error message. So because we're passing in the error message, we're going to replace everything here with the error message. And we're going to call results again. Results is equal to error message. So until result is true, before we're able to return the value of the result. So as long as result is not error message, result is func. So as long as the result is none, this function keeps on running. And it's only when it's true before it returns the result. So we're going to replace this implementation to call this function, repeat when wrong. And how do we do that? Self.number of courses is equal to repeat when wrong. We know we're taking in a function. So in this case, you can see this function takes in a bracket, but because the bracket will be called inside, we're going to just pass in the name of the function, get response, and the error message. And with this, we can remove all these duplicates. We can be sure that as long as we are calling this, our code would keep on repeating until the person does the correct thing. We can try it out to see if it works or not. Let's run our function again. Python gpa.py. Okay, while not results, so there was an error in this place. I'm supposed to put the semicolon. So you see how I found it, line 25, and that was how I was able to detect where the error was. gpa.py. How many takes? So I put Ola, and it keeps on repeating, and it keeps on repeating, and I put 23, and everything still works the same way. So now we've been able to isolate this repeat when wrong function, and we can reuse it at least for places where we want to ensure that the person types in the correct value. So we've gotten the input. So unit is equal to now we need to pass in this function into, this is the function we want to keep on repeating until the person does the correct thing. So but this function takes in a parameter, but in this case it does not take in any parameter when it's being called. So what can we do? We're going to create a mini function that doesn't take a parameter but calls this. So I'm going to call this variable func is equal to, and lambda is a way to create a one-line function. Now this lambda get input is the same as having to call a function with a name, def single func, not taking a parameter, and calling get input, and we're now passing in, say, 23. But because I'm not interested in the name of this function and it's just in one line and it's supposed to return a result, so and that's why I'm calling lambda get input. So it's literally, let me repeat it again, it is the same as running this. But now you can see this value, I would need to, because this function is not supposed to take any parameter, because we don't want our lambda to take in any parameter, because when it's actually going to be called, it's going to be called without a parameter. So we need to ensure that the function that we're passing into the function we're going to pass into this repeat when wrong does not take any parameter. Okay, so we've created our lambda function. Then we're going to call unit is equal to repeat when wrong. We're passing in the function, and the error message is, what should be the error message in this place? Please impute an integer. And if you keep on running, the person will know where to go to the next line till they do the right thing. Now, the next thing is we need the person to impute a grade. And the grade, at least from our understanding of the grade is from A to F. Say the person imputes anything that isn't from A to F, we want the function to keep on repeating. So we're going to end up using something similar to this, but we're going to make some changes. Instead of using the get input function, we're going to implement another function that can detect when somebody types in a good value. So go to create def get grade, and it takes in the input. Now, the possible options. The possible options are A, B, C, D, E, F. And of course, the person can choose to type it in capital letter, or the person can choose to type it in small letters. So we have to be able to account for all of that. So the person's, so instead of using this input, I'm going to prefix an underscore, so I end up overriding the input function that is provided by Python normally, because I gave my variable the same name as the name of the function. So I have to just prefix it with an underscore so that at least it knows that it's different. So results, so we're going to check if the input is inside the options. Let's assume the person's input in small letter. If it is inside these options, or if it is inside these options, then A, it means A, the person even did a good thing. Return the input, as in A, it was correct, as in everything we should allow the person to go through. Of course, we know that it's not just lowercase, there's also uppercase. So we need a way to be able to convert everything here from lowercase to uppercase. Of course, we could write everything as uppercase, but a better solution would be if input in x.upper. So there's an upper function on each input for x in options. So let me show you what I mean here. If we're to open IPython, and I created a variable xo is equal to hello, and I call xo dot, you can see all the functions. The person is type the upper, can see it converts into capital letter. So what am I doing here now? I'm making use of something known as a for loop comprehension. So let's say I had options is equal to A, B, C, D, E, F. Okay. Delete this. And cap options is equal to y dot upper for y in options. Is actually option. And if I type cap options, you can see it has converted everything to capital letter. So this is known as a list comprehension. It's the same thing as saying so we created UUU is equal to an empty list for O in option, then UUU dot append O dot upper. And if I print UUU, I end up getting the result. If I print option, I end up getting it. So instead of having to run through that for loop, we did everything in a single line. So if this in option return input, and if it is not true, we return none. Now you can see it's like I'm duplicating if input in options or input in this thing. So instead of this two loop, I can combine these two loop as one. So if input in, since we know that it's either lowercase or uppercase, we could literally do this. So we initially had options. So there is an extend method in options. Options dot extend. Let's try it out. We have UUU. We have options. UUU option. UUU dot extend option. And what is UUU now? Everything combined together. So with this, we are going to UUU dot extend everything here. So options now consist of lowercase and capital case, and we don't need to repeat this, and we'll return out the result. So we have our get great function now that takes in an input and it returns the same input if it's true, or it returns none if it's false. So we come back here, and of course our function, the same thing, grade function. So first of all, let us get the grade. Grade is equal to input, the input function, enter the grade of we want to get the person to enter the grade of the course that the person put. I want to put some helpers. Let us do something simple, but format the course. So we want to be sure that the person did the right thing. We create a grade function is equal to lambda, and instead of get input now, it's going to be get grade. And we're passing in the grade that was imputed. Then the grade is equal to repeat when wrong, grade function, and the error message. So please ensure you select from A, select either A, B, C, D, E, F. That's the error message we want to show. So we can see here now that, as in, at least getting the person to input this, getting the person to, and at the end of the day, if everything has been inputted correctly, we return course, return the unit, and we return the grade. So this, you can see, we're literally, what we're returning here is literally a tuple. A tuple is very similar to a list. So a tuple is something like this. VO is equal to 1, 2, 3. VO is equal to VO 0, the first parameter. So I can create 3 variables, A, B, C, and assign them the value of VO. So by default, A is equal to 1, B is equal to 0, C is equal to 2. So that's literally what I'm doing here. Of course, I could have explicitly wrapped it in to look like a tuple, but it's not necessary. And you're going to see code like this a lot. All right. So I found a way to get all the courses and the grade. So we're trying to get the user input here. So we've gotten the user input. Assuming the person does this. The next line is self dot. Okay, so I'm going to create another variable. So now, before we continue, of course, we've not tested if this function is working. Let's use this opportunity to test it. So I'm going to use IPython because I actually want to test in the interactive shell. So from GPA, import populate data. How many courses did you take? Okay, it's running that function at the bottom. Let me just quit this. So it's because of this particular aspect that is running. So I just decided to skip that because I'm interested in just populate data. Populate. Okay, it looks like I am not doing the correct thing. I'm supposed to call populate data. Okay, what's happening? From GPA import star. Okay, so I just allow the bottom part of the function to run because it requires it to run. Okay, so star means all the variables inside. So you can say populate data. I'm calling this now. So enter the name of the course, English, the unit 23, the grade B. I can see it returned the result for us. If I were to call the function again, I put math, I put hello. Okay, now our code is like it's going to crash. So let's quit it and let's see how we can fix it. So it keeps on running till we do the right thing. So let us look at what's happening here. So it means the problem is from the point when we get the input and repeat when wrong enters an instance. So let us look at the repeat when wrong function. So while not result, it should keep on printing the error message. And we want now we're actually running the function again when ideally we should ask the person for an input. So the mistake we're making is we're supposed in this place now, we're supposed to get the person to actually impute a value again and then reevaluate it. So this input function is literally supposed to be part of the get input. So it's not supposed to be separate. So what can we do? Let us create a custom input, and it's that custom input that we're going to end up sending inside this a custom input that gets the input and creates this function and returns that function. And so we're going to end up abstracting this out because we need we're going to end up abstracting this out because we need the person to actually impute a value, and it is that value, whatever the value imputes, that gets used here. Okay, so now we need to create macro function def repeat. Okay, get custom and call it custom input. It doesn't take in any parameter because it's not supposed to. So I'm just going to copy this. Now this function, well, is actually we will need to take something because we actually need to take something because the content is going to be the text is going to be different from the input. So whatever the text was, we get it to take the text and we are returning this empty function. So with this now, we are rewriting this unit now to be, I'm going to write this now. Unit is equal to, so it's not unit now, this is a function, the unit function, because that is what's going to unit. Unit function is equal to custom input, and we are passing in this. And the unit now is going to be, we want it to repeat the result of the unit function. So this goes away. So the unit function is, hey, this is what should happen. It returns an empty function, and we want it to keep on repeating this unit function until the person does the correct thing. We do the same thing for the grade. The grade function is equal to custom input, because it takes in just a text, so it acts like our regular input. It's just that it's returning a function at the end. So we'll delete this. And the grade, it keeps on returning the grade function with the error message. So with this now, let's test it out again to see if our function works well. From GPA, okay, let me just import GPA. Import GPA. Okay, this is 23. Let that first part run. So now GPA dot populate data. We know the valid case works well. Let us try the invalid case. English, hello. The code still keeps on running forever. So it means there's something wrong with our code, and we're not sure why it keeps on running forever. But we know that it keeps on saying, please enter an integer. So at what point it fails at this repeat when wrong. It fails at this repeat when wrong, right? So we're going to find a way to debug this our project. So we're going to put a breakpoint at the first time when it runs. So import pdb. This is known as a breakpoint. Pdb dot set trace. And in this case, let's exit our application and run it again. IPython from GPA import populate. I can imagine it's misleading again. Imports. Something is wrong. Okay, so let me just comment out this part of the code so that it doesn't keep running every time. We'll go to uncomment it later. It looks like my terminal has crashed. Let me just open a new one. Pip env shell IPython from GPA import populate data. Okay, so we want to call populate data, and whenever it calls this function, we're going to see what is happening. I'm going to figure out why our code kept on getting stuck. So populate data, enter the name of the course English, enter the unit hello. So now it has paused now. So it means we're at this point where the breakpoint is, so we can see everything above it. So if we were to type what was func? Func is the function that was passed in. What is error message? Error message is input an integer. What was result? Result is none, right? So to move to the next line, press the N key. Print error message. We press the N key again, which is why it printed the result, and we get result to run, right? And then what is func again? Func is an empty result. So this is a problem we have. We actually want the person to be able to type in another value before it is called the second time. We are not giving room for that. So I don't know if we are following the problem. The problem is it keeps on calling the initial value of the func, while at this point we actually want the person to be able to type in the value again. But because we've already set the value of this already, it is impossible for the person to be able to type in another value. So what do? We know that we always want the person to be able to type in an input. So we're going to fix this our function by getting by literally, because we know that func is supposed to take in an input, as in we're supposed to call we're supposed to get an input from the user. So we're going to end up fixing this implementation by passing the input and whatsoever the text is supposed to be. Then func works on that input, and based on that, it keeps on doing that. So that way, we're still passing func, we're passing the text that should be used, that should display to the user, and that way it gets the user to actually input something. So let's see if we can fix that. So in our custom let us look at how it's being used again. Custom input and repeat when wrong. So instead of this custom input now, let us look at it. We don't need to call this function anymore. But the assumption is at this particular point, we would have gotten the result. So the only thing we just need to return is whatever value. So ideally, we don't even need to do any one of this. We just need to, the only thing we need to do is we don't need this function anymore. So how do we solve this problem now? So we need to return a function that does the work for us. So in this case, we need the get input function. We need the get input function because the get input function, what does it do? It takes in a value and it returns none. So what do we do here? Okay, so we know that we need a custom function, and our custom function in this place is the get input function. Is the get input function and repeat when wrong. So I don't need to create this because it's just a single line. Let me comment everything I did so that we have the value. So this unit function becomes the get input function, then the text that we want to send down to the person, which is this, then this. So if you look at this again, the function takes in a text, as in we're calling the input on the text. So let us think about it. We are passing get input. Get input is func in this place. The text, so whatsoever input text returns is the value. So get input ends up getting a string in this place. And what does get input need? It needs a string to do its job. So it looks like we are doing the correct thing. All right. So we fixed the one for unit. So we don't need this function because we're just passing the correct function. Get grade is equal to, we already have a get grade function which takes an input, get grade, and we're passing in this text. So this goes away. So this is what we now have. I'll still leave our breakpoint there so that we can literally see what is happening when we call our code. To quit the breakpoint, we press the C key. Okay. Our code is going to run out of memory very soon. Just quit it and exit. Hopefully now, if we're to run this program again, our code should not break. So Python dpa.py. Sorry, IPython. And from dpa import populate data. So we call populate data. We can enter this. The name of the course is English. The grade is hello. So why not results? So we typed in the grade. So it means this function has already started running. So let us see what did we type in? We typed in text. Text was entered in unit of English. That is what happened here. And we typed in hello. So what was the content of results? Result does not have a value. and that is because we typed in hello. And what is the content of func? Func is get input. So if we pass in get input of the string hello, what does it return? It returns none, and that is why result keeps on getting none. So if we press the N key to continue, it prints out the error message. Anyway, if we just quit our breakpoint and get everything to work well, it asks us enter the correct value, and when we type 3 units, it jumps to grade. So if we type G here, the stuff runs again. What does result say? Result still gives us none. We press C to continue run the code. Here, please enter the input to this thing. And if we type in C, it returns the result for us. So we can see how we're able to fix our function by using the breakpoint. So when using a breakpoint, N is to go to the next line. C is to allow the program to continue running. C means continue. N means next. All right. So let's exit without the breakpoint and let's try running our code once and for all. So from GPA import populate data, populate data maths, we type hello, it asks us again, and if we type 3, we type grade 52, no, please enter the grade you selected. If I type G, then if I type C, everything works well and we are good to go.